So it actually hadn't been my intention to join the military. My dad had been in the Army, so I grew up in kind of a very military environment. And I was actually in college. I was starting my sophomore year, and my sister had gone into the Army Reserves. And I was getting an undergraduate degree, a liberal arts undergraduate degree. Still wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with my life. And she suggested to me to look into ROTC on campus. And I had decided to join Army ROTC. And the day that I was walking over to the Army ROTC detachment, I ran into one of my dorm mates, Carolyn Cameron, and she had on a uniform that I didn't recognize. And I said, yeah, what do you dress like? And she said, oh, I'm an Air Force ROTC cadet. And I said, well, I'm thinking of joining Army ROTC. And she said, don't join the Army ROTC. It's a bunch of dweebs. Go into the Air Force ROTC. And so there, just because I didn't want to be an Army dweeb, I decided to go with the United States Air Force. I went to a place called King Khalid Military City. It's in northern Saudi Arabia, very close to the border with Iraq and Kuwait. And it is what's known as a forward operating base. So because I'm Air Force, I support flyers. And what happened at that base is it supported combat aircraft, like fighter aircraft. They would be stationed farther to the south. That would keep them out of range of artillery and rockets, because planes are very expensive. If somebody were to attack our airfield, for instance, it's like a road. If there's a hole in the runway, we go out and we patch the runway. It's not really expensive. But if a plane is destroyed, or multiple planes are, they're very hard to replace. So what these planes would do is they'd fly from the south, go on a mission, come back to our forward operating base and rearm and refuel, and then go back to the fight, and then in the end up back at their base farther to the south. So we were forward operating base for fighter aircraft, but we were also a base where the Army and the Marines and coalition forces would bring their forces. They would come in on large transports, but also all of the supplies they would need to fight the war. So all of that was coming through our forward operating base. I think the best part of my service experience was learning certain lessons that would impact me for the rest of my life. I mentioned tenacity, but one of the other things was an expectation by my superior officers that whatever I did, I would do to the utmost of my ability. That there was none of this, oh, that's just good enough. One of the things that happened after the war was the Air Force Chief of Staff at the time, General Fogelman, came up with the Air Force's core values. Now, a lot of people have values, and maybe we thought about them, but we hadn't actually sat down and written them. And those core values have stuck with me for my entire life. Integrity first, excellence in all you do, and service before self. Well, I think tenacity will get you a lot farther than just talent. Certainly talent is important and hard work is important, but tenacity and advocating for yourself, even when people are telling you no, because let's face it, you're gonna get told no your whole life, but don't take no for an answer. I think the military is an awesome organization for people who not just want to serve their country, but also for me, as my first professional job. As I said, I don't think I'd be the person I am had I not served in the military. It was such a positive and pivotal experience in my life. I think I would like people to realize that about the military when they support our troops, that they support them when they come out of the service as well, and consider them for employment. When it comes to war, what I would really like people to understand is that people in the military are not pro-war. Nobody wants to go to war. And in fact, the military is the last resort. Far before we commit troops to some place, we should have diplomacy, a robust diplomacy on the front end of that. because the costs are staggering, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of people's lives as well. Both that service member's life, but also the people, all of the people in their lives, their parents, perhaps their spouse or their children. It's a big deal to commit forces, and I'd like people to think about that before they think of, some rogue country that we should go and send forces to. We should try diplomacy long before we commit the military, because the military doesn't want to go to war. I wish more people would choose military service. I wish that knowledge was more prevalent in society. If you look back post-World War II, 16% of Americans served in the services during that time. Of course, that was an unprecedented time. But it also meant that in society there was wide knowledge of the military. And today, it's just a few percent. And whether it's watching a video like this or having somebody who served, I wish people knew a little bit more about what it means to serve. I wish more people knew that veterans are not just people who are dedicated and loyal, but they're also people who are incredibly hardworking and also really ambitious and really innovative.